Okay, this is IGCSE Math 058022, February March 2024, paper 2. Uh, yeah, let me start. Uh, a bus runs from 21:50 to 5:18 the next day. Work out the number of hours and minutes that the bus runs. So it starts at 21:50 and ends at 5:18. So what I like to do is I convert this 5:18. I add 24 hours. Okay, because it's the next day. So once you add 24 hours, it's going to be 29:18, and then you can just subtract. You can subtract the times, and you will get. Let's subtract it together. 8 minus 0, 8. 1 minus 5, cancel the 1, it becomes 7. Be careful, it doesn't become 11 because you're working with time, and time is in 60. 1 hour is 60 minutes. You just add 6. 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 minus 5 is 2. And we take away 1 from the 9, yeah? Because you gave 6 to the 1 over here. 8 minus 1 is 7, and then 2 minus 2 cancel. So it's going to be 7 hours and 28 minutes. Okay, question 2. Once they say calculate, you can just literally put it on a calculator. So if you put this on a calculator, the fifth radical 5.76 plus 2.8 to the third power, you get 24.352. Okay, be careful. Once you get like an exact answer, like a decimal that does finish on your calculator, you actually have to put in the whole number. Okay, but if the only time you would round is if you get those repeating those really long decimals. Okay, that's when you round. But since it's an exact answer, 24.352, خلاص, that's the answer. You don't round that. Okay. Uh, Simplify 4m plus 7k minus m plus 3k. So you have to combine your like terms. The m and the m, 4m minus m will be 3m, and then 7k plus 3k is 10k. So it will be 3m plus 10k. Okay, question 4 is a bit tricky. The diagram shows the net of a cuboid with its base shaded. The length of the cuboid is 10, so the length is 10. Its width is 4 and its height is 5. Write down the values of each A, B, C, and D. So you have over here A represents this distance, B represents this distance, C represents this, and D represents this, and so on and so forth. How I look at this is obviously the length would be this side, right? This is the length. This is the base. This is the length. And you know this is the net of the cuboid. So it's they basically got the cube and they opened it up, not cube, the cuboid, they opened it up. So this would be the length, right? This is the length. And this shape is actually the same as this shape because you know there's a top base, there's this base, and there's also the bottom base. Okay, there's two bases. Like I'm gonna try something like this. So you have this top base and you have this bottom base, which are both equal in dimensions. So this base and this base. So obviously this B here would be the length, and this here over here would also be the width. So B would be, you can write this down on the side. B is my length and C is my width. And what did they say the length was? They said it was 10. So B is 10. And C, we said is the width, which they said is 4. Okay, now let's continue. Let's look at D. Okay, let's take a look at D. D would be the width. This is the width, right? The width plus this over here. What is this? If you fold this in, this actually over here, this is my height. This is the height. So it's kind of like this segment over here. This over here is the height. So this D is the width plus the height. So D is the width plus the height. We know what the width is, which is 4, and we also know what the height is, which is 5. So 4 plus 5, which is 9. So D is 9. Okay, what do we have left? We only have A left. Let's take a look at A. A is this part plus this part plus this part. This part over here is obviously the length, which we said was 10. So this is 10. We need this part and this part. Okay, this part and this part they're obviously equal because it's a cuboid, yeah? So like this face is equal, this face over here is equal to this face on the right over here, yeah? And if you look, the length of this side is actually the width of the base, if you get what I mean. So this side, which is the same as the bottom one, this side is the same as this side. They're both the same face, because once you fold it, these sides will be adjacent to each other, if you get what I mean. So this is equal to this. So these sides are actually widths. They're the length. They have the same length as the width. So since the width is 4, this will be 4 here and 4 here. This will just be A will be 10 plus 4 plus 4, which is 18. So your values of A, B, C, and D. Oh, how much? Big eraser. Okay. So the values for A, B, C, and D will be A is 18, B is 10, C is 4, and D is 9. For question 5, there are 20 cars in a park, and 3 of those cars are blue. So James wants to draw a pie chart. He wants to find the angle for the blue cars. Okay, whenever you're working with angles inside the pie chart, it would be the number of the value. So the number, let's call it theta. Okay, let's take, no, actually theta. I won't give you theta. X, okay, X over the total times 360. Whenever you're working with angles on a pie chart, this is how you do it. So X would represent the number of values that you have. In this case, it would be 3. And the total in this case is 20. And you multiply it by 360, and you get 54. For part B, one of the 20 cars is picked at random. Uh, uh, you should put 54 degrees. My fault, yeah? Put degrees. I don't know if they'll deduct, but just in case. Since you're saying it's an angle, put the degree symbol. Okay, one of the 20 cars is picked at random. Find the probability that this car is not blue. Okay, obviously, since there's 3 cars that are blue, how many cars are not blue? It will be 20 minus 3, which is 17 not blue. Yeah, not blue. What would the probability be? It's 17 cars out of how many? Out of 20 cars. So your probability will just be 17 out of 20. That's it. Question 6. They want you to write AB as a column vector. Okay, any vector, column vector, the way I have it memorized, AB, any column vector AB is equal to x of B minus x of A, y of B minus y of A, and you put it in a column. So in this case, you have 2 points, B and A. A is 7, 1, and B is minus 3, 4. So x of B, which is minus 3, minus x of A, which is 7, and then y of B, 4, minus y of A, which is 1. Let's work it out. Minus 3 minus 7 is minus 10. 4 minus 1 is 3. For your column vector AB is 10, minus 10, 3. Question 7. As the temperature increases, the number of people who go swimming increases. So plus. What type of correlation is this? Obviously, if it's plus plus, it's positive. Question 8. Part A, they're saying the nth term of this of a sequence is n squared minus 3. Find the first 3 terms of the sequence. So we want to find n1, n2, and n3. n1 would be equal to 1 squared minus 3, and 2 is 2 squared minus 3, and n3 would be 2 cubed minus 3. Okay, hold up. What am I saying? No. Not 2 squared minus 3, it's 3 squared minus 3. Yeah, my fault. 1 squared minus 3 is just minus 2. 2 squared minus 3 equals 1. 3 squared minus 3 is 6. Okay, so your first 3 values will be minus 2, 1, and 6. For part B, these are the first 5 terms of a different sequence. Find the nth term of this sequence. Okay, from 1 to 3, okay, you could say plus 2, but obviously from 3 to 9, it's not plus 2. And if you take a look at it, between each of these terms, you're always multiplying by 3. You're always. 1 times 3 is 3, 3 times 9 is 3, what? 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, and 27 times 3 is 81. This is a geometric sequence because you're multiplying. And the rule for any geometric sequence, Gn, equals G1 times r to the power of n minus 1. This is the rule for the nth term of any geometric progression. What does this mean? So the nth term is G1 times r to the power of n minus 1. G1 in this case is 1. Okay, 1. It's our first term. Times r. R is your common ratio. Okay, the ratio. What's my ratio? It's 3, right? 3, 3, 3. So 1 times 3 to the power of n minus 1. N minus 1 stays. It's always n minus 1. And obviously, anything times 1 is itself. For 1 times 3 to the power of n minus 1 is the same as just saying 3 to the power of n minus 1. If I keep it to 3 to the power of n minus 1. Question 9. The line y equals 2x minus 5 intersects the line y equals 3 at the point P. Find the coordinates of the point P. Intersecting means they have the same, they're equal. Okay, they have the same y, same x. So that means you will equate to solve and find any intersection point. You always equate your two functions. So you're going to equate 2x minus 5 to 3, not to y. You equate it to 3. You take 5 to the other side, you're going to get 2x equals 8, and you're going to get x equals 4. But they're not asking for the x, they're asking for the full coordinate. So how would I find the y? You take the original equation, y equals 2x minus 5. What's going to be y when x equals 4? You do y equals 2 times 4 minus 5. Just plug in your x, you're going to get y equals 3. So it will be 4 comma 3. That's the coordinate of the intersection point. Question 10. The diagram shows a trapezium PQRS. Calculate the area of the trapezium. The area of the trapezium, of any trapezium or trapezoid, is base 1 plus base 2 over 2 times the height. This is your first base, 8.7. The second base is 5.3 over 2 times the height. The height is not 4.4. Height is always perpendicular to the base, so it has to be 3.8. Please don't take 4.4. That would be a very stupid mistake. 8.7 plus 5.3 divided by 2. You have to do 8.7 plus 5.3, which is 14. Over 2 is 7 times 3.8. And let me do this on my calculator. It's 100. It's 26.6. 26.6. So the answer is 26.6 centimeters squared. Question 11. Without using a calculator, work out 1 over 4 minus 5 over 6. You must show all your work and give your answer as a fraction in simplest form. Okay, 1 over 4 minus 5 over 6. Obviously, since... Oh, that's not a 5. Obviously, since you have a mixed fraction, you have to convert it to a fraction. How do you do that? You multiply your coefficient by the denominator and then add that number to your numerator. This is how I do it. So 1 times 4 is 4, and then you add that 4 to your numerator. So 4 plus 1, which is 5. So it becomes 5 over 4 minus 5 over 6. And obviously, two fractions, you can't subtract them if they don't have the same denominator. And the common denominator between 4 and 6 would be 12. Obviously, you could just multiply by 6 here and then multiply by 4. But you know what, خلاص, I'm just going to multiply by 6. Okay, multiply by 6 here and then here multiply by 4. You're going to get 30 over 24 minus 20 over 24. Now you can subtract your numerators. 30 minus 20 equals 10 over 24. Now they did say simplest form, so you can't keep this as 10 over 24. So we can divide by 2 up and down because they have 2 common. And you're going to get 5 over 6. That's your answer, 5 over 6. I mean 5 over 12. Not 5 over 6. My fault, gang. 5 over 12. 24 divided by 2 is 12, not 6. Farid, spins a three-sided spinner with sides labeled A, B, and C. The probability that the spinner lands on C is 0.35. Farid spins the spinner 40 times. Calculate the number of times he expects the spinner to land on C. The probability of landing on C is 0.35. If you're spinning it 40 times, so it will just be 40 times the probability of C, which is 0.35. And you get, where is my calculator? Okay, 40 times 0.35, and you're just gonna get 14. So the number of times he expects to see the spinner to land on C will be 14. The bearing of B from A is 107 degrees, so calculate the bearing of A from B. Okay, I can give you a formula whenever they give you opposite bearings. Okay, the formula would be 360 minus 180 minus the other bearing. Okay, and you're gonna get, in this case, it's gonna be 360 minus 108 minus, oh, not 108, 180 minus 1 over 7. Okay, you get 287. Okay, why I do this? Let me show you. So let's say A is over here. Okay, we're gonna draw this as A, and the bearing of B from A is 107 degrees. So B will be somewhere over here, and this is gonna be 107 degrees. Calculate the bearing of A from B. So now, how do I go from this B to A? So let's imagine this is the north for B. I have to go from B all the way to A. So you need to figure out what this angle here is. This angle, since these two lines are parallel, it's going to be 180 minus 107 because they're co-interior. And 180 minus 107, you're going to get 73 degrees. So don't say the bearing is 73 degrees, because the bearing starts from the north and it goes clockwise. Okay, it's not anti-clockwise, it's clockwise. So you need this angle over here, and obviously this angle will just be 360 minus 73, which is 287. So you can say 287 degrees is your bearing, or you can just use the formula, but I just drew this to help visualize it for you. Question 14. A train 1750 meters long is traveling at 55 kilometers per hour. Calculate how long it will take for the whole train to completely cross a bridge that is 480 meters long, and give your answers correct to the nearest second. Okay, so أول شيء, the first thing you have to realize that they want the answer in seconds. Okay, but you have a speed given in 55 kilometers per hour. You have seconds and you have distances that are in meters, but your speed is in kilometer per hour. So obviously, it would be easier to solve if you convert this 55 km per hour to meters per second. So to convert 55 kilometers per 1 hour, let's convert it to meters per second. How do you convert it? First, convert the kilometers. You put 1000 meters over 1 km, cancel the km with km. Then let's convert this hour into seconds. It's going to be 1 hour, 3600 seconds. Cancel the hour with the hour, and you can also cancel these two zeros with these two zeros, and you're always multiplying. Yeah, so 55 times 10 will be 550 meters over 36 seconds. And if you divide this on a calculator, you get approximately 15.3 meters per second. So this is now your speed. Okay, but you now have a distance that the train is going to travel. You have the 1750 meters from the train, and then you have to add the 480 meters from the bridge. So the distance equals 1750 plus 480, which is equal to 2230 meters. So this is your distance, and we have the speed 15.3. Can you calculate the time? You know that time equals distance over speed. So the time in this case would be equal to the distance 2230 divided by 15.3, and you're gonna get, on the calculator, you're gonna get 145.75, and then it's a decimal. But they want it to the nearest second. If you round this to the nearest second, you round the 5, it's gonna become 146 seconds. So your answer is 146. For question 15, describe fully the single transformation that maps part I, triangle A, onto B. So this is your triangle A, which is the shaded one, and B is the one over here. And obviously, uh, it looks like a reflection, okay? And you're reflecting it obviously about a vertical line. We don't know where that vertical line is, so I have a method that I like to use. Uh, you can count the squares and then just divide by 2. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 squares divided by 2. It's 3. So you have to go and see the line that's 3 squares away. So 1, 2, 3. It's over here at minus 2. So that means it's a reflection about x equals negative 2. For II, they want triangle I onto triangle C. And obviously, triangle A to C, uh, it just became smaller. You're gonna work with formulas for dilution and contractions. Okay, the first thing I like to do when solving dilutions and contractions and enlargements is find my scale factor. Okay, the scale factor SF is equal to the image, the size of the image over the pre-image. Okay, in this case, let's take this base. It's 2 squares, so the image is 2 squares, and then the pre-image, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So the scale factor is 1 over 2. Okay, but you're not done. You need to find your center of enlargement. Once you have your scale factor, you can apply the formula. The way I do it, you have a formula, x prime and y prime. X prime is equal to kx plus 1 minus k times x of your center, and y prime equals ky plus 1 minus k times y of the center. So let's take 2 points. You need 2 points for this. You need your new point, the prime, and you need the old point, the normal x and y. Our old point, the pre-image, just take this point over here, 1 comma 2. So the pre-image is 1 comma 2. How about my new image, the actual image? It's negative 1, negative 1. So this 1 comma 2 went to negative 1, negative 1. My x prime and y prime is negative 1 and negative 1. And my old x and old y are 1 and 2. So let's just substitute in the equation. X prime, which is negative 1, equals kx. So 1 over 2 times, not x, 1 over 2 times 1 plus 1 minus k, so 1 minus 1 over 2. K means scale factor, by the way, times x of the center. This x of the center is what we need. We're trying to find the center of enlargement. Then y prime, which again is negative 1, equals 1 over 2 times the old y, which is 2. Why did I write it y? The old y, which is 2. So over here you put 2 plus 1 minus 1 over 2 times y of the center. You can just solve this equation. You're gonna get minus 1 over 2 plus 1 minus 1 over 2 x center. You're gonna get the x of the center equals, you're gonna get x of the center is negative 3, and you're gonna get y of the center equals negative 4 for the y of the center. I know it's a lot, but to clean it up, to sum all up, the enlargement from triangle A to C is an enlargement with scale factor 2. I'll just write SF 1 over 2, sorry, not 2, scale factor 1 over 2 around minus 3 minus 4. Part B, it says draw the image of triangle A after a rotation 90 degrees clockwise about 1 comma 3. You have to rotate, the way I do it is you have to rotate all 3 points one by one. So let me take this over here, new page, and put over here. So triangle A it has three vertices, and the way I do it, I rotate each vertex. So we have three vertices. The first one is 1, 2. The second one is 1, minus 2. And the third one is 5, minus 1. So you have to rotate each of these three. Okay, the way you do it when you're rotating around a center of rotation, you have three steps. The first step is to find the vector. The second step is apply the rotation or apply the rule. Then apply the new vector. Okay, this will all make sense in a second. Find the vector. What does that mean? That means from 1, 3, okay, what's the vector from 1, 3 to that point, 1, 2? Okay, so how would you find the vector from 1, 2 to 1, 3? You just subtract 1 minus 1, 0, 2 minus 3, minus 1. Okay, you just subtract. Instead of saying find the vector, I could just say subtract. Subtract pre-image from center. Okay, so 1, 2, you subtract it, you get 0, minus 1. 1, minus 2, 1 minus 1, 0, minus 2, minus 3, minus 5. Okay, 5 minus 1, 4, minus 1, minus 3, minus 4. Okay, the second step is apply the rule. What's the rule of a 90-degree clockwise rotation? A comma B goes to B comma minus A. Okay, so this 0 minus 1 will become minus 1 comma 0. This 0 minus 5 will become minus 5 comma 0. And this 4 negative 4 will become negative 4 negative 4. Okay, what's the third step? Apply this new vector. Okay, so that means or instead of saying apply this new vector, I'll just say add. Okay, add to the center. Okay, so now you just add all of these to your center. Okay, minus 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 plus 3 is 3. Minus 5 plus 1 is minus 4. 0 plus 3 is 3. The minus 4 plus 1 is minus 3. Minus 4 plus 3, minus 1. So these are your 3 points after rotating, and let's graph them. 0, 3 over here. Minus 4, 3 is over here. And minus 3, minus 1 is over here. You just connect the dots, obviously with the ruler, yeah? And that's your triangle, okay? For question 16, they're saying x is an integer. Then they're saying the universal set is all numbers between 1 and 10. And then they're saying P is the set of all even numbers, obviously, that are between 1 and 10. And Q is all the multiples of 5, which are also between 1 and 10. What I like to do is, when they say complete the Venn diagram, I don't start with the universal set, I start with P and Q. Okay, let's start with P. What are the even numbers which are between 1 and 10? Obviously 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Then Q. What numbers are multiples of 5? The multiples of 5 are 5 and 10, in between 1 and 10. In between 1 and 10, the only multiples of 5 are 5 and 10. Okay, you have this part now in between P and Q. That is the common. And what do we have common between P and Q? We have this 10. So you cross it out, or if you want to erase it, and now you put it in your intersection. So that's my common. Are you done? No. So we're done from P, we're done from Q, but we still have this universal set. This universal set is the outside part. Okay, it's your background. What's going on in the background? What's going on in the background is all the numbers in between 1 and 10. So let's start. What are the numbers in between 1 and 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's start. Is 1 in any of these sets? No, so you have to put it in your universal set. 2, it's over here, so we already have it. 3, we don't have it, so put it. 4, you already have it, so you cancel it out. 5, you also already have it in Q. 6, you have it in P. 7, you don't have it, so you have to write it. 8, you have in Q and P, so you just cancel it out. 9, you don't, so you have to put in 9. But 10 you have over here in the intersection, so you just cancel it out. Like this, you're done the Venn diagram, and you get your easy 2 marks. Okay? For question 17, the height of each of 200 people is measured. Okay, so your total number is 200, and they gave you the results and they gave you the frequency for each one. They want the estimate of the mean height. Okay, for the mean, whenever you have frequencies and whatever, it's sigma the frequency times the height divided by your total number. Why I'm saying this is because this is what's written in the marking scheme. يعني that's I'm not making this up. Okay, so this is the same as saying 32 times your middle bound plus 55 times your middle bound plus 64 times your middle bound plus 49 times your middle bound divided by the total number, which is 200. So let's start. So you have 32 times the middle bound. What's the middle bound between 100 and 120? Obviously 110. If you don't believe me, just do 100 plus 120 divided by 2 plus 55 times the middle bound, which is 125, plus 64 times the middle bound, which is 140, plus 49 times the middle bound, which is 170. And you take this all and you put it over your total number, which is 200. You put this in a calculator and you're going to get 138.425. And again, you're not allowed to round it because that is an exact decimal which you found on the calculator. It's not a rounded number. It's not an irrational number. It's an ending number. So you put the exact answer, which is 138.425. Question 18. Find the GCF or HCF of 28x to the 5 and 98x to the 3. To do this, you have to factor it out. Okay, 28x to the 5 and 98x to the 3. Factor it out. 28x to the 5 is actually equal to 7 times 2 to the power of 2 times obviously x to the power of 5. 98x to the 3 is equal to 7 to the power of 2 times 2 times x to the power of 3. Okay, if I'm not wrong, my calculator does it, and your calculator should be able to factor out any number into prime numbers. So 28, if I press 28 and I press equal, then I press shift fact on my calculator, it gives me 7 times 2 to the power of 2. Same thing with 98, it gives me 7 to the power of 2 times 2. So you should be able to factorize on the calculator. If you don't know how to factorize, 28 divided by 2, you're going to get 14. 14, can you divide by 2? Yes, you can. You get 2 and 7. So you're going to get 2 to the power of 2 times 7. How about 98? Divided by 2, you're going to get 49. 49, what's 49? 49 is actually 7 times 7. So 7 to the power of 2 times 2. That's just how you factorize. Okay, after you factorize, very easy. Find the HCF. For HCF, you always take the lowest power. Okay, take the lowest. So which is lower, 7 or 7 to the power of 2? Obviously 7. If I cancel out the 7 to the power of 2 and you take 7. Which is lower, 2 to the power of 2 or 2? Obviously just 2. So remove the 2 to the power of 2 times 2. Which is lower, x to the 5 or x to the 3? Obviously x to the 3. So we put x to the 5, we cancel it out. So times x to the 3. So 7 times 2 is 14, and x to the 3, you just put x to the 3. So your answer is 14, x to the 3. Question 19. The speed time graph, this is a speed time graph. It shows information about a bus journey. Calculate the total distance. You know, when you have a VT graph or a speed time graph, to calculate the distance, you have to find the area of the graph. In this case, the area, it's a trapezium or a trapezoid, whatever you want to call it. The area of any trapezium, okay, is base 1 plus base 2 over 2 times the height. Let's see here. Our first base is 190 plus our second base over here, which is from 20 to 140, so which is 120, because 140 minus 20 is 120, over 2 times the height. What's the height? It's obviously 15. And if you put this in a calculator, you get 2,325. Okay, so you put 2325 meters. Be careful, maybe they might ask for a different unit in the answer. So make sure to pay attention to that. So 2325 is my answer. Calculate the area of triangle ABC. Whenever you have a triangle and you have two sides and the angle between them and you're asked to find the area, you use the area equals 1 over 2 times side A times side B times sine of the angle between them. This is the rule. It doesn't mean here side A or whatever. No, I'm just saying in general. This means the area is going to be equal to 1 over 2 times 5.6 times 4.9 times sine 23, and you get you get 5.3608310833, which if you round it to three significant figures, because they ask you in the instructions of the exam to round it to three significant figures, so it will be 5.36. So your answer is 5.36. So let me just write 5.36. Question 21. The fifth radical of 3 equals 3 to the h. What is the value of h? Okay, the fifth radical of 3, if you want to write it as an exponent of 3, you always take, okay, the exponent on the root is your denominator, and the exponent inside is your numerator. In this case, we have 1 as the exponent. If there's no exponent inside, then it's just 1. Over the denominator. What's the denominator? It's the exponent on the root, so 5. So this is equal to 3 to the power of 1 over 5. Type. They're asking for h. So they're asking, so what's the exponent? So you just put 1 over 5. Part B, simplify 4x to the 3. Since the power is outside, you have to distribute the power to everything inside. So it's going to be the same as saying 4 to the power of 3 times x to the power of 3 to the power of 3. 4 to the power of 3 is 64. X to the power of 3 times to the power of 3 is x to the power of 9. You don't do 3 cubed and become 27. No. The power of a power, you only multiply. You don't actually put the power. So it will be 64. Well, it will be 64 x to the 9. Question 22. Y is inversely proportional to the square of x plus 3. When x equals 5, y equals 0.375. Find y in terms of x. Okay, so when we say y is inversely proportional to the square of x plus 3, that means y equals something divided by the square of x plus 3. Okay, this something we always put k. So y is inversely proportional, that means something over that. So in this case we say k over the square of x plus 3, so over x plus 3 squared. When x equals 5, y equals 0.375. So you just substitute 0.375 equals k over 5 plus 3 squared. So 0.375 equals k over 8 squared, which is equal to 0.375 equals k over 64. Can you find k? Yes, you can. You just multiply 64 times 0.375 and you get 24. So k is 24. So can I find y in terms of x? Yes, I can. Y is going to be equal to k, which we know is now 24, over x plus 3 squared. That's your answer. Y equals, hold up, let me write it, 24 over x plus 3 squared. Question 23. On the axis, sketch the graph of y equals cosine x in between 0 and 360. Okay. Since the coordinates they gave you, you have to fill those in first. At 0, the cosine graph is at 1. At 180, the cosine graph is at 180, it's going to be negative 1. And at 360, it's going to be back at 0. Okay. It's going to be back at 1. Sorry, not 0. It's going to be back at 1. But in between 180, it goes through 90. And at 90, it passes through 0. And between 180 and 360, it goes through 270, where it also passes through 0. Okay? You should memorize the cosine and sine graph. They're very important. Now you just connect the dots. This is your graph. Part B, solve the equation cosine x equals 0.294. So obviously x is going to be equal to the inverse cosine of 0.294. And you're going to get rounded to one decimal place because angles are required to be one decimal place, 72.9 degrees. But they need two solutions. That's my first solution. Okay, for when you're working with cosine, your second solution will always be 360 minus the first solution. So in this case, x2 will be equal to 360 minus 72.9 degrees. Okay, which is going to be equal to 287.1 degrees. Okay. Question 24. x squared minus 16a as x squared minus 16x plus a can be written in the form x plus b squared. Find the value of a and find the value of b. Okay, if you expand x plus b squared, you know the rule of a plus b squared. Okay, a plus b squared is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. This is a rule for the sum of two squares, for the sum of a square. Okay, so that means this x plus b squared, if you expand it, it's going to be x squared plus 2xb plus b squared. Okay, can I find b if I know that 2xb is equal to minus 16x? Of course I can. 2xb, because they said these are the same thing. They're just written in different forms. So 2xb is equal to minus 16x. Can I find b? Of course I can. Cancel x with x, and then b will just be minus 16 divided by b will just be minus 16 divided by 2, which is minus 8. So we found b, which is minus 8. Okay, can we find a? We know that a is b squared, because again they're the same exact thing. These are equal to each other, they're just written in different forms. So this a is equal to b squared. So do we know what b is? We do know b is minus 8. So since we know a equals b squared, we know that b equals minus 8, so a will just be equal to minus 8 squared. And pay attention, if you put this in a calculator, always know minus 8 should be inside the bracket, so you don't get a negative answer. So a will be 64. Question 25. A bag contains 2 green buttons, 5 red buttons, and 6 blue buttons. 2 buttons are taken at random from the bag without replacement. Calculate the probability that 2 buttons are different colors. Okay, since there's many probabilities that they are different colors, it would be easier to just find the complement and do 1 minus the probability that they're actually the same color. So what can I do for that? I need to find the probability they're the same color. So let's take a look for the probability of same. Okay, the probability of them being the same is the probability of having green green plus the probability of having red red plus the probability of having blue blue. Let's take a look at the probability of getting green green. That's going to be equal to green, we have 2 buttons. The total buttons is 2 plus 5 plus 6, which is 13 buttons in total. So let's say I was talking about the probability of taking a green. So it'll be 2 out of 13. Okay, pay attention. They say without replacement. So that means once you're taking the second button, you subtract both 1 from the numerator and denominator. So now since we took 1, there's only going to be 1 green button left, and there's going to be 12 buttons now in total. So that's the probability of getting green green. Plus the probability of red red. Red is 5. 5 out of 13. Let's pay attention. The second time he takes the red button, there's only going to be 4 red buttons and 12 buttons in total. Plus the probability of getting blue blue. Again, 6 over 13 times 5 over 12, because there's only going to be 5 blue buttons left after he takes the first one. So let's calculate the probability of this, and we're going to subtract 1 minus that probability. Put this into a calculator and you're going to get 1 over 3. So the probability of getting the same color is 1 over 3. 1 minus 1 over 3 is going to be equal to 2 over 3. So your answer, that the probability they're different, is actually 2 over 3. Okay, question 26. A is the 0.6, and B is the 0.2, 7. They want you to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB and give your answer in the form y equals mx plus c. Right. The first thing we need when finding any equation of any line, we need the slope. Since they want the slope of the perpendicular line, can you find the slope of the perpendicular line if you have the slope of the line it's perpendicular to? Of course you can. So our first step is actually to find the slope of this. So it's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 7 minus 1 over 2 minus 6, which is 6 over negative 4, which if you simplify is 3 over negative 2. Okay, that's your slope for the normal line. So we call this m1. Can I find the perpendicular slope? The perpendicular slope will be the negative reciprocal. So it's gonna be flip it, that's what reciprocal is, and then negative, so change the sign. So 3 over negative 2 becomes 2 over 3. So my second slope is 2 over 3. After finding the slope, you need a point. Because to find the equation of any line, you need a point. You always need a point. Okay? Notice how they said perpendicular bisector. Bisector meaning it has to pass through the midpoint. So the point I'm going to use here is going to be the midpoint. And can I find the midpoint of these 2 points? Of course I can. The midpoint is always x1 plus x2 over 2, comma y1 plus y2 over 2. So 6 plus 2 over 2, comma 1 plus 7 over 2. And you're going to get 8 over 2 here, which is 4. 8 over 2 here, which is also 4. Okay? What is so now I have my slope and I have my point. So can I find the equation? Of course I can. It's y equals mx plus c. Let's substitute. We know our y is 4. We know our m is 2 over 3 and our x is 4. Can we find the c? Of course we can. Just solve it. So it's going to be 2 over 3 times 4, which is 8 over 3 plus c equals 4. So c will be equal to 4 minus 8 over 3, which is c equals 4 over 3. But they're not asking for c, are they? They want the equation of the whole line. We know it's y equals mx plus c. The only thing you put is the m and the c in the equation. The m is 2 over 3 x plus c, which we found is 4 over 3. So my answer is 2 over 3 x plus 4 over 3. That's it for paper 2. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Uh, Good luck.